them, and we love it if you keep all of your microphones muted. If this is your first time joining us, it really helps. But I love audience participation. I'm always looking for topics to talk about or looking to add to what I'm already going to talk about, right? So if you have any comments or questions or anything, especially during the time that Jen is talking, you can type them to me and then we can bring them up at our first break. All right. So I think Jennifer is ready. I'm going to switch it on over to her.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to May. We're here doing some Asian-inspired recipes, and I think we've got some good ones for you today. We got a little bit of variety. So we're going to start with, I'll be honest with you, the one that I wasn't so sure about. So this was Amber's find, and then, we kind of tweaked it to how we liked it. And so it is a coconut red curry salmon. And initially I was like, I don't know about that. That doesn't sound good to me. It's really good. I actually then made it at home the next week. So what we do with this recipe to start is we're going to bake our salmon, which I've already done here. I've got it on a plate, but just a few fillets of salmon, about a pound or so, salt and pepper. When I was at home, I actually added a little bit of garlic powder and onion powder to it just for funsies, and then plugged it away in the oven. Now, if you have time, and maybe you're a little unsure about your salmon cooking abilities, the instructions do give a little bit more of a slow cook version. So 275 for about 40 minutes. It's a nice slow cook because fish can really dry out easily. And when you have dried fish, it's just not very good. And if you're someone who's had a weight loss surgery, anything that's kind of dry is not your jam, right? So you have to be kind of careful about that. So you can do that, but if you're more confident or you just need the speed, you can kick up the heat to about 425, and then probably in around 12 to 15-ish minutes, depending on how thick your pieces are, you should be done. It's always, I think, a good idea to temp those. You want around 145. If you're going beyond 145, you're going too long and you want to make sure you pull those out so they're not getting too dry. So we did that ahead of time. We got those guys all ready to go. And now basically we're going to make our sauce and then we're going to be done. So we're starting our sauce with some lovely sauteed onions. I'm just browning these up real good in here. And then what we are going to add next, we've got some garlic. So the recipe says 1 clove of garlic, but I really like garlic, so I'm going to do 2. Up to you. I did 2 cloves at home. I still thought it was great. So entirely your preference, but we want to make sure we get our garlic sauteed in there. And then some jalapeno slices. I mean, you could do fresh. We've got some jarred jalapeno slices. You can go mild, you can go spicy, whatever you prefer. They actually add, I think, a lot to the dish. So I put several. Our recipe says a few slices, right? So there's some ambiguity there. It's up to you. I've got a pretty decent little pile here that I'm going to go ahead and put in. And we're just, kind of heating those up a little bit. Soften them just a hair. And then we're going to add our other couple of ingredients, and then we're going to be done. It's awesome. So this is a coconut milk, right, recipe. That's a pretty standard for a curry. So I've got 1 can of the coconut milk, just regular coconut milk. If you need a light version, you can do that. But we've just got the regular going in here. This is going to add some really nice creaminess. If you really enjoy coconut, you'll definitely like the flavor of this. Not overdone, but just a really nice addition. So we're going to get this all stirred in. You want it heated in, melted, just all incorporated really well together. And then we are going to add the curry part. So I've got a couple teaspoons of some red curry right there. There you go. And that's what's going to make it our curry flavor. These are not super spicy. At least I didn't think it was spicy at all, to be honest, even with the jalapenos in there. And I'm kind of sensitive. I'm definitely a gringo. So, it's kind of up to you, but I didn't find the red spicy at all. Just add some flavor and a little bit of color. And then it's pretty easy peasy. Now, generally what you would do at home if you're making this, so you would tuck your salmon into the oven and then be making this while the salmon is baking. So typically I would let this sit and simmer for a few minutes to thicken up. And this is, again, a little bit your preference as far as how much you would like it to thicken up. But we do like to give it a few minutes. And then all we're going to do is nest our salmon into the sauce, let it warm up for a few minutes if it's sat out and cooled down. And then that's pretty much it. That is all of it. And what I'm going to do, so I'm going to add my lemon juice. We're going to add a little bit of brightness there. I like to add the lime juice. I like to add the lime juice in before we put the salmon in. It's a little bit easier to stir it in. And we're going to do that. And then one thing that I did that I thought made it easier, again, totally up to you. I took my salmon fillets and broke them up a little bit into a little bit smaller pieces. They were, pretty good sized fillets just when they first came out of the package. So after I baked them and they cooled a little bit, I broke them up into smaller pieces. I kind of feel like that disperses the salmon a little bit more throughout the dish. And then, of course, for any of you who need smaller pieces, ta-da, here you go. And if you're wondering about skin, if any of you have wondered about that, that is a total preference. Skin on or skin off, that is entirely up to you. Not really into the skin myself, so after the fillets had cooled a little bit, I flipped them over and peeled all the skin off. I know it's probably, to anyone who's a true fish lover, that's probably like, I don't know, against the law of the fish eating law. I don't know. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. This is simmering actually really nicely. I'm going to go ahead and put my pieces of fish in, my salmon, and then that's pretty much it. I'm going to turn this sucker down. We're going to be good to go here. So also we would, maybe garnish this with some kind of greenery, like maybe some basil or some parsley if you want to. But that is it, y'all. I mean, okay. Wish me luck. All right, we're gonna do ta-da. So you can kind of see we got the salmon in there. The picture's better, it helps. But that's it, y'all. We are good to go. That is recipe number 1. Super creamy, super lovely, super tasty. I think actually goes really good with the rice that's coming up. All right, time for a commercial break, Amber.
I just wanted to make sure something that we don't talk about all the time is how to make sure you stay into these classes, right? Sometimes when I had people yesterday in my office and I'm signing them up and I only sign them up for like 4 or 5 months. And then they are like, wait, how come I'm not in classes anymore? You have to sign up. So if you come into the office, we've got QR codes everywhere. We will have a slide at the end of class with the QR code, or the good old-fashioned way, you can email us bariatricsupport@slhs.org. But it's super important because here's the thing. You may be doing amazing and you're like, oh, I got this. And you're in your first year, your honeymoon phase, and all is well. You're losing weight and all that. But then things start to kind of go back to normal. Your body starts to wake up a little bit more. The hormones kind of start going, hey, give me those. I had a patient yesterday, Reese's Pieces, right? So we gotta make sure we stay connected, and coming to cooking class and coming to healthy living classes that we have every other month and coming to our monthly support group is just a really, really great way to stay connected. We're always here. You could ask any question during any of those scenes. Even you could come to cooking class and get some free advice, honestly, because we're here and we're not going to turn you away and say, oh no, we can't answer that, unless you don't want to share your private question, then that's fine too. But support group's a great way for that, because we don't record support group. It's a vulnerable time that we don't ever share. But cooking class we share. So if it's something that's personal and you don't want to share it, then send us a MyChart message. But let's see, Jennifer said, I find that cooking fillets frozen keeps them moist and prevents your home from smelling fishy. Yes, yes. I know my husband doesn't love fish, so I don't eat a lot of fish. Plus, we both grew up on the West Coast, and so we like, we had families that fished, so we're spoiled. I have a hard time buying fish at the store because my dad always had fish. So anyway, that's a great tip, Jennifer. This is a great spot too for those sorts of things, is having that. I wanted to let you know about next month's cooking class, which is on, I always have the dates written down, and then of course I forgot today to write it down. But next month's class is on June 19th, and that is going to be our 4th of July. It's a special class because it gets you ready for the 4th of July. We always have tips on how to feed people and how to really make 4th of July a special celebration. And of course, all of our recipes are bariatric friendly, so you aren't going to be feeling like you're gaining weight on the holiday. And then our gut class that I teach, Healthy Living, starts July 7th, and that's every Tuesday from 11:30 to 12. So we'd love to see you there. Every Tuesday, 11:30 to 12. We do record those and have those on our YouTube channel if you can't make it because of work. All right, I'm getting my signal. I'm headed back to the kitchen.
All right. If you wonder what the signal is, it's me standing here, standing still. But I also gave Amber Wild Wild West guns, which is, I'm sorry, it's Friday, y'all. I'm at the end. It could get weird. I don't know. Okay, let's move on, right? So we did our salmon curry. That turned out really good. Now we're going to move on to an Asian beef with baby broccoli. So broccolini or baby broccoli, however you find it at the store. I was looking for broccolini forever, and then I was like, oh, Amber, they call it baby broccoli. I could have been finding it this whole time. Every recipe always says broccolini, but we got our baby broccolis. So little shoots, nice and tender. So what we've done is we already browned our beef. So we take our beef with some of the soy sauce or the tamari, whichever you're using, and half of that, by the way, and we browned our beef already. So what we need to do is we need to get our broccolinis going. So we've got those. We're going to tenderize those a little bit. We've got some cooking oil, toasted sesame oil. You need to have this. This is going to add a ton of flavor. So you don't want to go without toasted sesame oil. Sesame oil is okay, but the toasted version, that's really, really going to add a ton of flavor for you. So I'm just going to, kind of tenderize these a little bit. You don't want to go too crazy. Unless you really need soft baby broccoli. But it's already going to be a little bit tender because it's baby. But also, you don't want to kind of keep a little bit of the texture here. So we don't need to take too long to get these guys going and softened up just a little bit. And then we're going to add a little bit more liquid, so a little bit of water. And then our green onion. That's actually green onion from my garden. Holy cow, does that stuff grow. Like when I came in with the green onion today, Amber was like, it's like this long. And Amber's like, why didn't you chop off the top? It would have been so much easier to carry it in. And she was right. She was right. So we just want to kind of cook up these onions a little bit, right? Kind of soften these up, really kind of get the flavor going in here. But this is going to be another pretty quick one. Once you have your beef done, everything else is going to move along really, really quickly. And as we're always trying to do, we're always trying to get a variety of plants into the diet. And so this is going to give us a few different options. It's not like a 10 or 12 plant dish, but it is going to be multiple. And then we are going to put it with the next recipe, which is the cauliflower rice. And that's going to add several as well. So now that I've sauteed and softened my onions here just a little bit, we're going to take our beef, we're going to add it back in. Maybe. There we go. Oh, Amber, I spilled some of the beef. Not good. There we go. Okay. So reheat it. If it's out for a few minutes, we're going to reheat this up, get it nice and warm. And then we've got some bean sprouts. Okay, so we've got another plant we're going to toss in. Very Asian. And we're just going to basically just heat this through because we already cooked the meat. We already tenderized our broccolini or our baby broccoli and our onion a little bit. The bean sprouts are already soft. They just need to get warmed up along with the meat. And that's pretty much it. I mean, guys, this is a pretty quick one. Like if you're looking for a quick one, this is a pretty quick one. And certainly what you can do if you really, really need something quick is if you can brown the beef ahead of time and just pop it in the fridge. And then when you need to reheat it, maybe it takes a couple extra minutes because it's cold. You can certainly pull it out so it'll start to warm a little bit while you're doing the broccoli and such. Then that's it. You are good to go. So Amber, we did it. We're done. We need to move on.
That's crazy.
I know, right? Oh, perfect. I love a quick dinner.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. We're going to go ahead and talk about some things. You know, she mentioned some vegetables. My PowerPoint is so slow. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on. Man, when she was talking about vegetables, I was thinking about how many are in this class. We have a lot of vegetables in the class, but that was a really fast dinner and it's so good. I make a similar one like that at home with broccoli and onions and sometimes mushrooms, depending on what I want, and always red bell pepper. But we have red bell pepper in the cauliflower rice for later. So this is a great, great dish. And all of these, I mean, I know I feel so much like a broken record, but they're all really good. And we just get really lucky, I feel like, when we're out there looking for recipes. We have done the fried rice before, and it's such a great staple that we just have to do it basically every year as the base because you can use it for everything. So it's really handy to have. But just focusing on, make sure I turned off her screen. Oh, I did. Okay, good. Just focusing on the health and wellness aspect when we're going through, whether we're going to have surgery, whether we've had surgery, whether we're not having surgery, when maybe we're on a GLP-1 weight loss shot, or maybe we're just seeing the dietitians and our OMP program for weight loss. So any of these reasons, all of us, those of us who don't even need to lose weight, we need to be eating more vegetables. Literally, they say a lot of research is just backing that over and over and over again. I had a friend ask me about what do you recommend for, you know, someone who is going to only have one kidney. I'm like, whole foods. Like we need more vegetables, we need more fruit, and not too much fruit, right? Because it does have natural sugars, but they're good for you. They have fiber and all kinds of potassium, and everything that we can't get in a multivitamin is in our food. And obviously, if you've had surgery, the amount that you can eat is so small that it's important that when you're eating, even if it's a small amount, that it's super nutritious and nutrient dense. And so that is what we always try to focus on. There are some cooking classes that, you know, we don't have a lot of vegetables. Maybe if it's near the holidays, it's a little starchier, a little protein heavy. But this month, for sure, being that it's Asian inspired, they eat a lot of vegetables and they live longer than all of us. So we should be, you know, learning more from the Asian cultures. And of course, we're not having the normal like jasmine rice that so many of us love, me included. We're using a cauliflower rice because it's just better on our waistlines in the long run. So what we like to do is count vegetables in recipes. This particular one that we're just about to do is the cauliflower rice and our plants. Sorry, not vegetables, plants. How many plants? We're supposed to have 30 plants a week that we eat. And of course, some of them are going to be repetitive like garlic or onions, but let's see. This count for this fried cauliflower rice is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think if you count the oils for sure, because they are plants, avocado oil and sesame oil, maybe 9 plants in just one recipe, right? That's just one. That's just for the base. That's just for the rice part that we're going to put under the Asian beef that we just made with baby broccoli or broccolini. And that one in itself had 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4. So that's about 12 for that dish when you're about to eat it with the rice and the beef with broccolini on top. I think she's ready. I don't know. I saw like maybe. Okay, good. I'm gonna head it back over to Jen.
So we're going to make our cauliflower fried rice. It's pretty similar to the one that we've made in the past. We tweaked it a tiny bit, but same general concept. So we've got our cauliflower rice. We're going to do the egg. We're going to do the seasonings. It's a pretty nice way actually to have cauliflower rice, to be quite honest. I sometimes find the rice cauliflower can be kind of bland, but this ends up being a really nice way to add a lot of flavor. I just find it more enjoyable than in other forms when I'm doing the cauliflower rice. So what I've got going here in the pan first are my onions and my chopped red bell pepper and some butter. So we've got that. And I just like to saute those up. I just think they taste better when they've got a little bit of brown on them. So I wanted to start them a little bit ahead of time. So they've had a little bit of time here in the pan. And then we're going to go ahead. We're going to add our garlic and our ginger. So I've got 3 cloves of garlic that we're sticking into this guy. And then like about a teaspoonish or so of some chopped up ginger, being a very stereotypical flavor that you're going to get, but really adds a lot, I think. So we're just giving that a minute to sit in the middle of the pan, and then we're going to start pushing things to the side and adding the next thing. We're just going to kind of layer things in as we go. So I don't want this to have too much time. So the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to kind of shove all of this to the side. So you do want to make sure you have a pan that's big enough that you can get all of this in. So we're going to push this off to the side. Got the other half of our butter here. We're going to go ahead and toss this guy in and let that melt just a little bit. And then we're going to get our cauliflower. I think it's good to not only thaw your rice cauliflower, but also, make sure it needs to drain. We haven't found that it always does, but sometimes. And so if you want to let it thaw in a colander, just in case any moisture needs to drip away, you don't want too much moisture going into this, or it's going to take a lot longer to basically cook it because you are kind of trying to dry it out a bit. All right. So we've got our cauliflower going in. And I'm just stirring this up. So we don't really need to cook it too much. All right, it's already going to be kind of tender. It was frozen. We're going to keep this pretty hot, kind of turn that up a little bit. And all I'm doing now is we're heating and we are slightly cooking the cauliflower. So one of the, stereotypical pieces of fried rice is going to be the egg, right? You really kind of want to have the egg in there. Like that's a really, that's a little bit of protein, but really it just adds some flavor and some interest to your fried rice. So what we're going to do after this has had, again, just a few more seconds here to cook up, then we're going to push everything else to the side. We're going to cook our egg. I have a question. Is there anyone in the crowd that has any other ideas than the cauliflower rice idea? We've done some other ones in the past that were other rice substitutes. Or I'm curious what you guys have liked that you've tried. Or have you tried anything and you're like, no, that sounds too weird, Jan. I'm not ready for it. I'm not ready for that kind of commitment. Yeah, we got any takers? That's okay. We've done rice hearts of palm, which is pretty good. The hearts of palm is, again, pretty bland, so it's going to take on whatever flavor you put in it. Super low in calories, like just barely there, basically. And then the one other that actually I really like that we did not too long ago was, it's by the Miracle Noodles brand, but it's Miracle Rice. And it's those little bags where the noodles or the rice come packed in water, and that's really weird. But what you need to do if you try one of those, the nice thing with those is, again, super low in calories, really, really bland if you prepare them the proper way. So with the Miracle Noodles or the Miracle Rice, you got to make sure you drain off all the water that they're sitting in and then rinse them off really good because the water has a fishy smell. You want to make sure you get rid of all of that. And then basically you pop them into a dry pan and just kind of cook them to heat them up and dry them out a little bit. I thought it looked a lot just like regular rice, just with the look of it. It's really good. Okay. So I'm pushing my cauliflower to the side. There we go. All right. So we're going to put our eggs in. We're going to scramble them. This will go pretty quick too. And it's okay if a little bit gets mixed up in some of the cauliflower. It's all going to get cooked together anyway, so not a big deal. But basically, we're just scrambling this egg off to the side, and then we're going to stir it in. And then we're going to add the rest of our ingredients we got sitting over here, a little bit more of the flavor that we're going to go ahead and add into this. You do definitely want to make sure you're stirring the egg as you're cooking it. Okay, so I don't know how y'all like to cook your scrambled eggs normally, but if you're the kind of person that likes to put it in and let it cook into a chunk and then eat that, this is not going to be, it's not going to work well. You're going to want to make sure you're stirring it so you're really getting it good and broken up so it'll stir well and incorporate into the entire dish. So you do want to make sure that you do that. Okay. I think we got it, Amber. Oh, this is looking good. All right. I know I'll show you guys in a second here. But my vegetables have browned a little bit more off to the side, which I think just makes things taste even better. All right, and then we've got what? We've got our toasted sesame oil. So I've got to toss that into the mix. Yes. All right, we've got our tamari / soy sauce / coconut aminos, whichever version you like. They're all a little different, but all work in these dishes. And then we've got some green onions as well. Some more of my ridiculously large green onions from my garden. And then a little salt and pepper, just, to season. It can be kind of a season to taste kind of a thing, but even with all of those other flavors that go in, it seems to need just a little bit. So that can be kind of on you how much you want to add. But we've got some of that salt and pepper going in. All right. And this is it. So there's a lot of color with this one, which, when you have the green onion and you have the red pepper, yellow egg, all of that, it just looks, and it smells delightful. There's a lot of flavor in this one. So I wouldn't skip any of the pieces, to be honest with you. It's just not going to taste the same. We've done that before with lesser ingredients in this kind of a dish, in a fried rice kind of a situation. It just wasn't near as good. I mean, I think Amber and I both agree. So ta-da. Oh, there we go. Yeah, steamy, looks good. All right, so this can go with your broccoli, but again, it can also go with that salmon dish. Either way. All right, so I think we're doing pretty good here. I think it's time to, we're just clicking right along, y'all. Doing it. We're ready to move on to the next dish.
All right, everyone. I thought since we had a minute, we would talk about where to find these recorded videos, because you might have someone from your family. And here, just so you know, if they watch the video and they want the recipes, just send us a MyChart message. Or if we don't show up on your MyChart yet, send an email. We'll get you those recipes. Okay. It's super important because we want you to have them. So we don't want you to be left without them. And we don't expect people, if you know how to cook, we don't necessarily need people to watch the whole video, but they might be like, ooh, that looks really good. You can kind of scroll through the video and go, ooh, I want that recipe, right? And so just let us know. So what you want to do here is the St. Luke's Health System YouTube page. And there's a lot of St. Luke's in the YouTube arena. So you want to make sure that it's our beautiful blue and light blue logo there that says St. Luke's. And then you want to click on playlists. And when you go to the playlists, it will say bariatric nutrition and behavioral health. I know this slide, I keep meaning to switch it, but it does say bariatric nutrition and behavioral health, because our behavioral health specialist, Angela Hernandez Harris, also has done some breath work and different videos on there to help with stress and mindfulness and things like that. So we're all part of the same department. So we're putting all our videos up there. We've got prior healthy living classes up there that are also ready to be watched. A lot of people work on Tuesdays from 11:30 to 12, so we don't get to catch everyone to come to those classes. So we really like to make sure that we record them so you can come back and watch them, because it is our job to be supportive and educate and all of that. So when you click on the playlist, you'll see Jen there. She's even waving, I think, in the picture. That's an Italian month apron, I believe she has on. It's so tiny for me, and if you're on your phone, I'm sure it's really tiny for you. So that is a way to see our recorded videos. Again, I'm recording today's. It will be up usually within a week, maybe 2 weeks. It just depends on how busy our tech person is that publishes those for us and how busy we get as well. So that is there. And then I mentioned we need you to come to class. I mean, they are so good. And I'm not bragging on myself. I'm just saying, like, it's good to stay connected. We find, and there's research to back this, the more connected, the more involved you stay with the lifestyle management side of things, right? Learning how to live, learning how to prioritize sleep, learning how to keep ourselves managed in stress. We all have a lot of stress, so up and down. I have patients that are doing everything right with food and exercise and even sleep. Well, sleep is usually affected by stress, so I can't say it's always good sleep, but their sleep and stress are awful and they stop losing weight or even gaining it. So we've got to be the whole picture. We talk about it in Starting Strong. And so come to our classes. Again, I can't see these pictures, but one I can tell is cooking class. It's a beautiful picture of food. And then the second one is healthy living. And the third one is our support group. We have I believe Hernandez Harris is going to be our guest speaker in August. And so we will be doing some behavioral health topics on that one. Last month we had a share-a-thon. Love the share-a-thons. They're always fun. I'm pretty sure next month I'm in charge in June, and I'll be talking about gut health. So it'll be, again, it's a support group. So I'm not like doing an education for an hour. I bring up some things and then I ask people what they do and right, but it's the focus of next month's support group is gut health. So that's just a preview of my gut health class for healthy living in July. So any questions about that? Any comments about today's recipes? We're just about to do the final recipe that we can do on camera. We did have to pre-make the what's it called? Coconut mango pudding. And oh my word, that is good. So I'm excited about that because I haven't had it since 2 weeks ago and it's really, really tasty. It's kind of nice, especially on a hot day. It's very refreshing. If you've ever had, it doesn't taste like sorbet, but that's the only thing I can think of is it's just got this refreshing flavor. And of course, pulling it out of the fridge, it's nice and cool. So this is a lot of ingredients on this next one. It's kind of crazy. Let's check the plant count on our ginger chicken stir fry with cucumber salad. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 plants. Wow. And then other spices and things too that like a sugar substitute, I'm not counting that as a plant. It might come from a plant. So I'm not counting that one. Let's see what else. Pinch of salt, not counting that, but not a plant. But is salt a plant? No, salt's not a plant. Oh, one of those is water. Is that what you're wondering? Oh no, there isn't water in this one. Not this recipe. It was another recipe you did that had water. Anything clear is the mirin. Mirin is the clear ones. Well, one of them's the dressing. One of them's for the chicken. Oh no, I use that in the marinade, so you shouldn't have that. Clear one. Well, one of them will be I might have accidentally done another mirin for. No, I don't think I did because it was in the marinade. Whatever. It's all right. She's got something clear up here. It probably is water. Where did I see water? One of the recipes had water in it. All right, people. We got it. We got it. We're doing good on time, but we want to make sure that we have time to show you everything. So I'm going to I'm going to hand it back over to Jen.
There's just like about 500 bowls right here right now. I was like, musical bowls. Like which one? No. Nope, it's not mine. I think it's another mirin, but whatever. Okay, so that's all right. It's all going to go together in one spot eventually, right?
It might have been the water, but maybe
No, I use the water for the beet.
Oh,
So,
all right, whatever.
you know,
It's okay. Warm your
it's kind of like when you get something and you're supposed to get like put together, you know, and then at the end you have 3 screws left over and you're like,
Yeah.
either these are leftovers and extras or I missed something, right?
Yes.
But I think we're gonna be fine with this. We got lots of things going in, so it's gonna taste good anyway. So the first thing we're going to do is make our cucumber salad part of this recipe. So what I've got here is my cucumber. And Amber very kindly chopped the ends off for me. But because I'm going to put this through my mandolin to slice it, these are great. If you have one, obviously they can be super handy to slice something up in about 30 seconds. If you don't, it is totally fine. You can, of course, just hand slice super thin, or we also thought with something like this, you could probably just take a potato peeler, maybe chop it in half so you got little shorter pieces and just make ribbons. And that could be a really good way to make this cucumber salad as well, just with like a different shape. So either way is totally fine, but I'm just going to start getting this guy sliced up. I never really understood the value of mandolin until I actually got one. And then I was like, oh, this is the best. Anything that makes my life easier in the kitchen, yes, it is happening. And this is going to be a really nice, fresh, simple side to your chicken dish, which is going to taste pretty flavorful and I would say a tiny bit hearty, but not too bad. And we use chicken thighs in that chicken recipe. You know, you could technically do either one. Doesn't really matter, but we find chicken thighs, first of all, that is seem to be kind of more of a stereotypical use in your Asian dishes, but also they're just moister. They stay moister, they don't dry out as quickly. And again, if you are sensitive to the moisture or the lack of moisture in some of your food, they're just going to be easier for you to eat. And the protein value is basically the same. I know they're a little bit higher in fat. That's why they're so tender. I missed. But the protein value is the same for dark meat as it is for the white meat. So you're not shorting yourself anything there. All right, so I got my pile of my sliced cucumbers, very thinly sliced. That's why the mandolin is super handy. I was kind of throwing cucumbers around, it looks like. Okay, so this is a pretty simple salad. Then we've got marinated ginger. So in the jar, a little bit of your marinated ginger is what we've got here, or pickled ginger, I'm sorry. And we chopped it up. We thought it's going to work better to disperse throughout all of your cucumber if we chop it up. So we did that. And then I have my mirin. So that is our little bit of liquid going in here. And then a little bit of salt. Oh, I didn't bring my salt over. You could leave the salt out if you want to. Not really a big deal. We find it's just a little bit flat without at least a little bit of salt. So it doesn't need, you know, a couple pinches or so, not a ton. And that'll do it. That'll really kind of brighten this thing up for you and add some good flavor and such. Okay, so there it is. We're going to let that sit and, you know, come together and become friends in the bowl. That is what we're going to do. All right, now let's move on to the chicken side. So we marinated our chicken. There's the marinade instructions here in the recipe. It is going to add a lot more flavor if you can marinate your chicken for about an hour or so. And you know, you can do it ahead, or if you want to toss it in the morning, that's going to be fine too. And then it's ready when you come home later in the day. Don't let it go too long though. I would say just, you know, like 6-8 hours maybe ish, or like morning until evening when you're making it. But if you're starting to go too long, the chicken starts to get mushy and the texture gets off. So you do want to kind of be mindful of that time frame, but an hour would be enough if that's what you need. All right, so we're going to add our sesame oil. I know that's this one. And we're going to add our sliced garlic. That's this one. And we're going to fry up this sliced garlic. This is going to be super good. This is going to add a lot of flavor to this dish. And, you know, just for a couple of minutes, these are sliced super thin. Amber did that part. Thank you, Amber. Perfect. Basically, I mean, just a minute or two with those. And then we're going to be ready to start adding everything else in. So I better get myself ready. So we're frying our, oh, here we go. We got some more. So then we're going to add in, actually, we're frying our garlic. Then we're going to add in our ginger here in just a second. We're going to do that. And then soy sauce, I got that. Got to find all the right bowls. Sugar substitute, brown or white, either is fine. And then the chili flakes. Totally up to you how much you want to do. But, you know, these usually have a little bit of heat. I didn't find that this was spicy, quite honestly, even just with that little bit of the chili flakes. So not a huge deal, but totally up to you, right? You can personalize some of these parts, and that's going to be just fine. So this is going to maybe seem a little bit weird because we're sauteing the garlic and the ginger in there, kind of frying it up really. And then we're going to add the sweetener in, which is going to be dry, and that's going to feel a little weird for a second. But then we're going to add that soy sauce in, and then it is all going to come together. And then I've got my broth that's going to go in here as well. Am I doing this right, Amber? Am I getting it all? So far, so good? Okay. All right.
This smells a little high.
A little high? Okay, I'm turning it down. All right. All right, so I got a little bit of a goo with my sweetener going in there. So we're going to let that sit for a second. All right, remaining soy sauce. Ba-dum bump. Here we go. Yeah, it is a little high. I turned it down now. All right.
I'm starting to smell burnt onions.
There's burnt on the empty side of the
Oh.
pan there. You're definitely smelling that, that's for sure. All right. Yeah, there we go. Okay, and then a little bit of our chili flakes. We're gonna toss those guys in. We're gonna get those all stirred together. So with this one, you kind of got to be ready. Like you want to have all those ingredients ready to go. You don't want to be doing one of those, oh yeah, and I'll go measure out that one and I'll measure out that one. This one goes pretty fast just with this part of it. Anyway, okay, so we've got all of that going in. I'm simmering nicely, actually. I think this is going to be turning out quite delightful. Then we're going to add our broth. There we go. We got our little bit of liquid now. That's going to thin it down a little bit. I'm going to keep it here pretty hot because I still want that to thicken up a little bit. All right, so now we need to reintroduce our chicken, which I have way over here, and the marinade. So this is one of those situations where we are going to keep the marinade around because we are going to cook it in the pan. We're going to cook it well, so all the rawness will be cooked out of it. So what we're going to want to do here, add our chicken back in. I'm going to get that heating actually up right now. I'm going to go ahead and do that first. And then we want to add we're going to add a little bit of flour to this marinade. So don't be worried. It's only a couple of tablespoons of flour. I know we're kind of always like, don't eat bread. But when you're using a tablespoon or two of flour in something just to thicken it, it's such a small amount. It's really not going to be that big of a deal when it comes to the carbohydrates that it's adding to the whole of the dish, right? So it's still going to be a pretty small amount. I lost all my whisks. So I'm use a whisk. This will be easier. I'm using a spatula, and it's not the greatest approach. It's working, but it's going to take a hot minute. Or a fork. I will often use a fork in that case as well to whisk things. I don't know. Amber, have you ever done that? Or have you always done the whisk? Always the whisk.
I do have a lot of stuff that I've gotten, like silicone ones.
Like silicone whisks?
Different sizes.
Yeah.
I whisk, but fork, I can give you a fork.
I think I'm good. Okay. I think we got it. We got it there. All right. So we're going to add this marinade back in. So we're going to keep that flavor. Woo. But now that's going to really help thicken it up a little bit. And pretty quickly, quite honestly, that's going to work. Yeah, really, really quickly. So this one, again, it takes a little bit of time because you're marinating the chicken, right? Which you can do ahead of time. Cooking the chicken in a hot pan, a few minutes, 5 to 7 minutes maybe, until you can tell it's done. No pink. All the juices should be running clear at that point. Yeah, and I can tell this is already starting to thicken up for me. Okay, so we're heating it through. And then what else do I have to add in there? Is that everything? The marinade, blah, blah, blah. Heat it through.
Garnish with black sesame seeds.
Yeah, I just need to garnish. So at the end, when we plate it. You don't have to have these, but they are kind of cool looking. Just a little bit of the black sesame seeds. I actually also have some sriracha, which we would use to garnish your fried rice. Don't have to, but if you have it and you like it, goes really well with that also. Okay, so while this is thickening and finishing up, it's actually nearly there already. Man, this stovetop stuff is great. It goes so fast. Just love it. So I'll go ahead and we'll talk about the other dish, the last one, which is this mango pudding. So coconut mango pudding, way easier than it sounded, quite honestly. If you've never made pudding before, this one actually, if you follow the instructions, it's going to work out really well. It thickens up a little bit. It's got a little bit of sweetness, but it's a pretty mild sweetness, so it's not overly sweet, which we really enjoyed with this one. You got a little bit of that mango. Of course, there's coconut, so you do have to enjoy your coconut. So the basic process with the mango coconut pudding is first you do want to blend up your mango, right? So you're making a mango puree. We just popped ours in a bullet blender, but any kind of blender that you have, of course, will work just fine. Just make sure if you're using frozen mango that you let it soft so it's soft and easy to blend, but just blended that up. And we kind of set that to the side for a minute. And then we've got a bowl with our water and a little bit of gelatin, just 1 tablespoon of gelatin. And you're not going to stir that. All you're going to do is sprinkle that on top and just let it sit. And it's just going to sit there and do its thing while you are over on the stovetop with your double boiler or your homemade double boiler. And that's where you're going to be heating up the coconut milk and the brown sugar. So I don't own a double boiler. My double boiler is always a pot with water and then the bowl on top. You just want to make sure that the bottom of the bowl is not touching the water. That's going to create some extra heat. You kind of want a gentle heat there. So basically you are just warming up the coconut milk and dissolving the brown sugar substitute. And once that is start to dissolve, you got kind of a good mixture there, then you go ahead and you add all of your pureed mango and just stir that up really, really good. And once it is heated through, not boiling, maybe just starting to get a little bit steamy, so warm, then you're going to remove that from the heat and whisking the entire time, you're going to slowly drizzle that over that bowl of water and gelatin. So just kind of holding and pouring that over and just whisking the whole time, getting it all whisked in nice and thoroughly. And once you've done all that, then you just pour it into all of your little containers and stick it in the fridge. A couple hours later, you've got coconut mango pudding, which we thought went really well with some whipped cream on top. We toasted some coconut. So we have some unsweetened coconut. We tossed a little bit of that into a saute pan and just heated that up until it was starting to get some browning. Got some raspberries that we thought went really well with that also. So you don't have to do those garnishes, but they're kind of fun. I'm kind of a fan of toasted coconut, and I like to do like a tray full and toast all the unsweetened coconut. And then I just put it in a container, and it lasts for quite a long time actually in the pantry. And then you can top certain things that you have that you want to have that toasted coconut with. So those we're going to go ahead and pull out here in just a minute, but I think I'm ready to start plating everything for everybody. So Emma, if you want to give me a minute, I'll start pulling all that stuff out and then we'll just chill everything else to you at the end. Bada bing, bada boom, get it done, right? Get the food done and then get out of the kitchen. That's what we like. All right.
Yes, yes, yes. We are going to be finishing up here. That's why I panicked. I thought, wait, she has to plate all that stuff. So I started plating at least the beef. I got the beef done. That's it. Okay, there's a beautiful picture of our mango. More plants in our dessert there. Really awesome. We've got the coconut. We've got the mango. We've got the coconut milk. We've got, I think, some lime juice in there. I don't have my recipe in front of me. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Is there any lemon? Okay. Okay. Just no citrus in there. Wow. Okay. Well, anyway, it's so good. So refreshing. So healthy. You really actually, it's kind of funny. I never really have a dessert where I'm like, oh, I feel really good. Like I don't feel heavy after having it. So, and it's got some rich coconut milk in there. So it's definitely got some heaviness to it, but it also feels good, like as you're just having just a nice light dessert after dinner or after lunch. Nice thing to bring to a party for sure. I've got these little, I was at Hobby Lobby, I believe it was after Easter, and I got these cute little paper cups that you could easily, make it, put it in there, and then bring it. And then, of course, they're disposable, but they're super cute. They have like flowers on them. And I was going to make all my I had so many ambitions when I was out on medical leave for my new knee. I bought them to make them all mug cakes. I was going to bring everyone a mug cake. And I did make little flower arrangements. So I did make them little flower arrangements while I was gone of cute little fake flowers that they could have on their desk in these cute little mini. I don't know if you've ever seen those little mini cups at Hobby Lobby. Anyway, silly, right? But I was like sitting at home, just icing my knee for 6 weeks. I had to do something. I did a bunch of sewing for friends as well. But anyway, back to the mug cake. I mean, to the pudding. It would be cute in those little cups. Okay, so Jen is getting ready to show everything. Are there any other further questions? I know I talked about make sure you sign up for classes. If you can't scan the QR code, make sure you send us an email. I don't think our email is on here. It is not, but that's okay. I'm going to type it into the chat. Bariatric support at slhs.org. That's a great way to be able to sign up for classes. We can definitely get you registered no matter what, or if you have a visit with one of us and you want to sign up for a class, or you see Troy or Hazen or one of your doctors and you're like, hey, I want to sign up, then they'll get you to the right place. They'll send us, I'm sure they'll send you to us, or they'll just sign you up while you're there. All right, people, we've got like a couple more minutes. Are there any questions about anything? I did want to ask people, what is their favorite thing about this time of year? Because I know I have a long list about this time of year. Now that I have a graduate coming in a week, like he's graduating from high school, it's a little bit crazy, but I love the weather. I love the mornings being crisp. What are your favorite things about spring or this time of year? Spring. Type them in the chat, or you can raise your virtual hand and say it verbally. And then Jen's ready to show you everything. And since usually we show it to you and then everyone leaves, I just want to say thank you so much for coming. We love our job. We love sharing with you. We love questions. We love all kinds of parts about being that. Oh, Angel says hearing the birds in the morning. Yes. Jennifer says sitting on my balcony watching the cows and the horses. Hey, I've got some horses I can't see though unless I stand on a stool in my backyard. That I can hear them whinnying. All right, I love that. The birds are great. I don't know. When I'm trying to sleep in till 6:30 or 7, the birds are a little loud in my house. But yes, I do like them. I just want them to be quiet until 7. And they are not. Okay, while Mirella is typing, I'm going to send it back on over to Jen, but I'm going to keep the sunlight. Yes, we all need that. That helps us reset our sleep cycle. Okay, let me go ahead and send it back over to Jen.
So we made it to the end, got them all done. So let's go ahead and start. This is our salmon curry. So I'll get that up nice and close for you. Got a lime on the top, which is now super shiny and hard to see, but it looks amazing. So definitely one of my favorites for sure. And then we've got our beef, right? So we've got our baby broccoli with the beef. There is that guy, and that is going to go with our fried rice with our little bit of sriracha on top. There's that guy. And then we've got our chicken with the cucumber salad. And this cucumber salad is really nice. If you're looking for something fresh and easy, this is actually a really nice, easy idea. If you can just get those guys sliced up real thin. So we've got our chicken next to our cucumber with the pickled ginger salad. And then last but not least, dun, da, 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 our cute little cup with you can't see it. Okay, look at the picture on the recipe. It looks way better, but same kind of idea. It's kind of like, Yeah.
It's just too white.
It's too white. The cup is too white. Anyway, well, it looks really cool because I put whipped cream and toasted coconut on top.
Get it closer.
Okay, maybe Amber can get it closer without it being so shiny. I mean, that's a little better. The camera just like makes everything so white, so it's kind of hard to see. But there you are. So again, a really nice, easy one. Especially I think when it's warm outside, it's a kind of a nice, cool little treat and doesn't take very long to put together. And then all you got to do is let it sit in the fridge until you are ready to enjoy it. So that's May. We did it. We made it. All the Asian goodness right here. Yes. So y'all try some of these recipes. You know, pick one, maybe next week or so. Go ahead and get going with it. They're stovetop, really easy, pretty quick. I think you're going to like them. Very, very different. But thank you so much for hanging out with us today and putting up with us. You know, we appreciate it. So, all right. Anything else? Are we good? Ta-da. Class dismissed. We're all done. It's time to eat.